Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to episode 12 of the MGF Podcast. This is the show with a temporary name where we talk movies, Lego, and whatever else. And of course, joining me is Tait.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
So, we've got
Got a good
a bit
episode
more
for you guys
content.
today.
Yeah, we got some more content to cover this week than we did last week. Last week, we just straight up forgot to talk about the Rise of Skywalker Vanity Fair
It shows
article.
how much we care, dude. Shows how much we care.
I'm excited. We're excited for the Rise of Skywalker, but it just somehow totally slipped our minds last week. So we're going to talk about that this week. Thank you everybody for joining in. I hope some of you guys are here because I forgot to actually tweet out its live post and like the updates to my Instagram story and everything. But as far as other topics and things that we're going to be covering today, first we'll just get started with the fact that it's June already. That's kind of nuts. Like it's already June. The entire month of May 2019 is already gone. May is in the books.
We're halfway there, Ross. Halfway
Yeah,
to
I was.
2020.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Kind of crazy, man.
Yeah. However, I've still been plugging away on my Avengers Endgame showcases.
Woohoo!
And I had my first video go up, my first making of video, which was exciting, and a lot of people seem to really enjoy that. And this past week, I've been working on the rescue helmet a little bit. I got to work on that from Tuminio. He sent over a copy of one of his new helmets that he made for Pepper's rescue armor from Endgame, and I painted that up and posted that over on Patreon. But I've also been working on Captain America the most. I got started on Endgame Cap. There's no picture of him available right now. I don't know what graphic Tait has up right now, but it's probably something totally unrelated.
Oh, it's just the logo, man. It's just
yeah. But that's all going up over on Patreon. And I was working on him a little bit today, getting started on painting the scales, and I was doing a lot of things like 3D elements and the custom chin strap and making Lego's Captain America helmet actually work and sanding down the back, which is way too thick and way too long as it comes in the official set. But otherwise, guys, I'm really excited. I'm starting to kind of concept Thanos out a little bit and figure out how I might go about doing that big fig. There are a few ideas I have, but ultimately it's just a big workload that, of course, I'm sifting through over the course of the summer and into the fall. So I really appreciate all of you guys being so patient with me as these figures are turning out exactly how I wanted them. I mean, as you just saw with the Mark 85 in that making of video, just the Iron Man Mark 85 just under halfway done. It's already my best Iron Man suit to date, which I'm really proud of and really excited by. And I can say the same for Captain America already. I really can't wait for you guys to see it once I get him to a place where he's ready for a proper preview photo. I just got in some extra shields to make the broken one, and it's it's going good, man. It's going good. How are you doing, Tait?
Oh, I was just gonna say, speaking of Ross's minifigures, if you guys want an exclusive look of Ross's progress so far on the legs, specifically the legs, hit me up in the DMs on Instagram. I have permission to show you guys just the legs, so.
I haven't started on the legs.
Yes, he has. Don't spoil my joke, Ross. Don't spoil my joke. But anyway, guys, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
I'm real tired.
How's California in June?
Gloomy, of course. So we got June gloom going. Hoping July is gonna be a little bit cleaner.
Dude, my birthday is in a couple weeks. Freaking June 14th, Flag Day, ladies and gentlemen, and get hyped for Flag Day. But also, I'm gonna be 21. So
pretty rad, dude.
Yeah, man. So that means whenever I'm having a bad night, I can finally just, down a couple bottles of vodka and just leave the earth.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Guys, Russ is sitting there. He's sitting there on Flag Day, sipping a bottle of rum. Guys, the Endgame showcase will come out before the end of the year. Leave me alone.
I don't know how off guard I caught you there.
You really did. Oh, that was good. That was good.
Oh no. But yeah, that was me stalling as I try to post over on Instagram that we're live. But yeah. So otherwise,
what else is happening in June? Do we have any events coming up in June?
Honestly, dude, I have like no idea. I mean, if you live closer to like Disneyland in California, there's certainly a pretty big thing going on,
which we will talk about.
Yeah, which is pretty nuts. And again, I'm still stalling. But hey, Tate, Godzilla came out.
You want me to stall a little bit more because I got something to stall with.
No, I think I'm good. Here
All
we
right,
go.
we're good to go. Cool.
Yeah.
Here we go, boys. Godzilla came out, and I have not
Yeah.
seen it yet. Unfortunately, I'm
Let's
sad.
wind the clock back just a little bit to 10 months ago when the first trailer came out. Personally, I thought they were just going straight to Godzilla and King Kong. And last year, I actually didn't even know Godzilla King of the Monsters was a thing that was happening until the first trailer at Comic-Con came out, and I was like, oh. And yeah, I didn't know they were doing a middle movie that kind of sets up Godzilla more and the rest of the Titans, or I'm sorry, Kaiju.
Yeah, thank you, Ross. Thank you. Guys, I'm a huge kaiju fan. I've seen every monster movie besides this one.
Yeah.
So I love them. I hate that they're called Titans now in this new movie.
And
Dude.
that
They're
trailer
kaijus,
that Warner
man.
Brothers put out is still one of my favorite trailers of all time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so well put together, and the music is just so godly the whole way through. And every moment of that trailer was amazing. It really sold me on this movie all the way back then, 10 months ago. And I mean, even like I remember somebody after Infinity War came out on Blu-ray, they did a recut of the trailer, but Infinity War style, and it was amazing. I love that trailer. I mean, so now here we are, right at the tail end of May there. Did you catch that? Tail end.
Oh gosh.
And it came out, man. And yeah, I went to go see it alone the first time, and I was there at a 3D screening. I don't know why the hell I had 3D tickets. I wanted to punch my month ago self. And I also had not only 3D, and I was already really turned off by 3D, like just because I saw Aladdin in 3D too, which was also really bad. I mean, usually 3D didn't bother me, but oh my god, it's starting to bother me now.
I feel that. I saw Endgame in 3D the first time I watched it.
Oh yeah, man.
And it was just wasn't as good as seeing it in 2D. The end battle was incredible in 3D, but
yeah, but because it was dark, but
right.
Yeah, no, it definitely takes away from too many movies, and Godzilla is unfortunately no exception. But yeah, so as far as the movie itself goes, of course, it has just been getting torn apart by critics. It is just awful reviews. It's not doing too hot at the box office, and people are just being a little too hard on the movie. Because listen, man, back in 2014 with Gareth Edwards' Godzilla, people complained about there only being 8 minutes of Godzilla. I mean, rightfully so. When you're doing a Godzilla movie, people tend to expect Godzilla and not, a stylistic indie film with Godzilla kind of off in the background.
Right.
So I get that, and that's fine. But then here we are now, 5 years later, with the sequel, and they bring in Godzilla and Ghidorah,
Rodan,
Mothra, and all these other monsters, and people are complaining about the human characters now.
Oh
it is the perfect example of there just being no winning, unfortunately.
No, dude, you can't please cinema goers, and sorry to cut you off, Ross, but I just want to say that I'm one of those cinema goers that you cannot please. But here's the thing: this is a monster movie. Right? Rotten Tomatoes should not be rating this against Oscar bait movies. This should not be compared to, Shape of Water or Birdman. Ross, your two favorite movies.
Speaking of Shape of Water, that lady's in the movie. So,
but anyway, I mean, you shouldn't compare Godzilla, a Godzilla movie against, what cinematic greats. This movie is the kind of movie where you sit down and you enjoy yourself. Kong Skull Island, not Casablanca, right? Not super, game changing, but golly, is that movie enjoyable. John Wick 3, not cinema changing in terms of, what makes film, but is it enjoyable?
Yeah, I mean, like, John Wick 3 doesn't have a good story. No one's complaining about that.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like, what is this? And so I don't listen. Some of the criticism is valid. We're not doing spoilers, by the way. No spoilers.
All right, because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, and so listen. The story isn't revolutionary. The characters aren't revolutionary. The performances are consistent. and really well done the whole way through, and they're all very good, but also, again, not revolutionary. But it's all good. It's all just good enough and just believable enough to be serviceable enough to carry the movie so that you can focus on the monsters the whole time that they do actually give us more of this time. They're not really in the movie a lot more, but they are certainly much more present in the various sequences where you do get to see them is pretty amazing. I mean, the first time I saw it when I was up on a high road watching it in 3D, not a good idea. If you go see Godzilla, I was telling Tate, see it on the biggest screen that you can, and then pick the bottom row, not like the floor rows, but like the first row up, just the first one, so that just like the human characters in the movie, you're actually looking up at the monsters and getting that sense of scale. Because when I watched Godzilla the first time, I knew, I was like, oh man, when I take my dad to go see this tomorrow, because I went twice actually already, I'm going straight down for that bottom row. This is going to be amazing. And it was amazing, especially in 2D on that bottom row. And that's what I'm there for. I was there, and listen, I am very uncultured as far as Godzilla goes. I did not grow up with Godzilla. I did not go back in time and research Godzilla. I did not delve back into the lore of Godzilla. I didn't even know who Ghidorah was before this movie. And so it was just going in, trying to see the greatest Godzilla movie I have ever seen, when I really haven't seen that many. And especially because the Godzilla movies, for the most part, if you cast your nostalgia aside, they haven't aged well. No. They don't look real anymore, those monsters. They don't. I'm sorry.
Not even a little bit.
Sorry. They don't. The end. And so that's what I was going in for. I wanted to see a modern Godzilla film with today's technology and see the most realistic versions that we've ever seen in film of these iconic monsters. And that's exactly what they deliver. And it's phenomenal. And the cast, each character is given just enough backstory the whole way through to carry the movie and again to be serviceable. Now granted, there are a lot of moments of convenience. There are a lot of moments where logic takes a back seat. There are a lot of cliches. The lead character is a walking cliche everyman. The guy knows everything. He can do everything. He's better than everyone. He knows exactly what to do and how to do it in every situation. He's basically like Nathan Drake on steroids, the guy. and so just older. And so it's like, yeah, that's noticeable. But Tate, I was telling you, I could not have cared less watching the movie because I didn't need to have Captain America the Winter Soldier going on in the background of this kaiju movie. I'm there for the monsters.
Right.
I'm there for the Titans. I'm there to see these incredible fights. It was the same thing with Pacific Rim many years ago. I'm there for the visuals. I am there to see what we can do with these movies now, with IMAX and with today's CG. So going in and picking apart little moments when characters conveniently bring up PowerPoint presentations and divulge their evil plan for seemingly no reason, or bringing up all these different points about the movie that really just, to me, are not as relevant, is really unfortunate. Because again, a movie like John Wick, another movie, which is granted of quality, it is praised for doing what they set out to do. And that was action in all three of those movies. And that's why the movie is so critically acclaimed, because the story is simple and straightforward. And granted, the character is, and also, John Wick is not realistic. John Wick defies logic. Any other human assassin, any other human being would die. And so I bring it up in comparison because it's like, it's just not fair that this movie's getting torn apart. Why? I don't, and it was especially, especially awful to me because I love the movie personally and would gladly go see it a third time if I can after seeing Endgame a seventh, because I also happen to be a fan. I'm also a lunatic.
What's up, guys? Ross here. I need reference, so I'm just gonna watch the movie 8 times.
I don't have a photographic memory, so that yeah. But listen, man. When it came down to it, these characters, I felt attached to these characters. I felt connected with them. And so during their most powerful moments, I really felt it. And you know, one character and one character I haven't even mentioned, Millie Bobby Brown's her character Madison. She was great. I mean, I liked her in this more than like Stranger Things. I mean, bold statement.
Oh wow!
But I swear, man, it's like she is just great, that girl, in whatever role she's in. I mean, I personally thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I think there definitely could have been just a little bit more of the monsters. They aren't in there quite as much as I would like. But when they are, man, each scene delivers. When you are seeing Godzilla fight, you know, Ghidorah in each of the sequences, it is amazing. When you see Rodan show up and you know all these monsters fighting together, it is surreal, and every shot is stunning and gorgeous and real, and you feel the stakes as a city in Mexico is being evacuated, as Rodan is attacking. I mean, it is, you feel that it feels too real. Like, you feel for this mother and her family as they're being trampled and stuck in this city because you can't evacuate that many people that fast. And I mean, yeah, and so, you know, I mean, to me, the standout actors were definitely, you know, the actors who played Emma, the mother. You know, again, Millie Bobby Brown as Madison, and definitely Ken Watanabe. He was great. Ken Watanabe has my favorite moment in this movie. My favorite scene in this movie is one of his scenes, and you know, people are so upset about the human cast, and it's like, it worked for me because, again, I wasn't there for them, and it was just a huge bonus that they were arguably one of the best human casts
in a monster movie
ever to be had in Godzilla movies. And it's not like, and again, none of this is revolutionary. None of it should be, you know, put up on a pedestal as far as the human cast goes, but it all worked. It all worked. And I don't, it just bothers me because walking out of that movie, at no point would I have given it a 30 or a 50% or any of these low ball reviews I've been seeing. I honestly think it's obnoxious, and even more so when you see the passion of the director who had to follow in Gareth Edwards' footsteps after Godzilla 2014. The guy is so immersed in these monsters, and he was so, you know, I mean, the movie's great, man.
Yeah, I want to bring up because of the fact that I haven't seen it. I just want to bring up not the controversy, but the opinions that were coming out when Kong Skull Island came out, because they were very similar. Right? People were criticizing the human cast for being too weak, criticizing the movie for having too much monster in it, you know, all these kind of things. I mean, did it get as lowballed as this one? No, I think the lowest reviews for Kong Skull Island that were published on big sites were like 60% and something like that. I personally thought Kong Skull Island was like, it's probably the best monster movie, I think, at least the ones out of the ones that I've seen. But it was just such a fun time, such a fun movie. The human scenes added to the monster because of the fact that, you know, Kong kind of controlled the story, and the entire movie felt like it was about him. And I feel like that probably can be said about this as well.
Yeah.
That the human cast benefits the monster.
No, I mean, yeah, the whole movie is about Godzilla and you know, them and the humans trying to work with Godzilla to coexist, to learn to coexist with him, and you know, and the monsters who don't just simply want to, you know, wipe the planet clean and destroy humans and everything in their path. But I you know, the whole idea of the movie is finding that balance between coexisting with the Titans who aren't destructive, while, you know, doing what needs to be done with the others like Ghidorah and Rodan and whichever, you know, Titans don't have, you know, the best interests in mind for humanity. And so, yeah, man, I love the movie. There are various scenes and various things you can pick apart, but man, what a disservice you are doing to yourself watching the movie by paying attention to little details like that. When you and I mean, if you're going into a Godzilla movie and a monster movie where he fights Ghidorah and Rodan, and and you're going into this movie looking for some, deep political thriller, the problem's on you.
You're failing yourself, essentially.
And it's not with the movie. And again, I don't want to dumb down the story, because it's not like the story doesn't have layers. It does. It doesn't make sense, about a good chunk of the time, a good portion of the movie. There are various scenes that are just too convenient, that don't make sense, that you can pick apart, but the story still does function. The cast functions. The performances are consistent. The backstories are enough for the characters that are important. Do we really need more in this movie, where we are getting to witness the greatest visuals as far as these iconic monsters go? We are finally in the year 2019 getting to see these monsters fully realized, to the best they've ever been. Like, what are people looking for out of this movie is my question. And because I thoroughly enjoyed it.
So Ross, I want to kind of play devil's advocate, but also not really, because I think that film is a medium that should that every genre and every franchise should be respected. I mean, that's something that I've believed my entire life. There are some hypocrisies that I do have containing my beliefs in cinema, like me saying that I like to watch a monster movie to have fun. Where I will be honest, guys, I do analyze the hell out of like the Marvel movies, and I'm not a huge fan of them. But it really does depend on what you want to get out of a movie. If you're going into this movie analyzing, being a poopy head like me, analyzing every frame and analyzing the character growth and taking your 2 years of film theory and bringing that into this movie, then yeah, you're probably not gonna like it. But if you just turn off your brain and say, wow. Like for me personally, I think I mentioned this in the John Wick 3 review that we did. I did see that one. And I just turned off my brain. And I had such a great time watching that movie.
Yeah,
and it just depends on what you want out of it.
This is not the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is not the Star Wars saga. This is not a film series that has committed to in-depth background plot lines for the human characters in a monster movie. Granted, Godzilla 2014 can stand in contrast and contrary to that. But I mean, listen, man.
It's just
you're not going back to that point.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, we can't really compare. It's two takes on monster movies. That's the thing. This is more of the summer blockbuster. Turn your brain off and enjoy it. Whereas that one, maybe a little bit of thought makes the movie better. I personally think that a little bit of thought makes the Godzilla 2014 better. I like that movie a lot, and I know that movie doesn't have very good reviews. But like I said, I'm a kaiju guy, and I'm super biased in terms of that. But I mean, this is a monster movie. This is a cinematic experience.
Yeah, and Tate, what a shame is it that it's not doing well at the box office. I hope it does really well internationally. I'm sure it will, like over in Asia especially.
This is the only other cinematic universe I can think of that's actually working so far.
Yeah.
I really don't want it to end because of this. I want Godzilla vs. Kong to come out. It's probably going to have the same. It's probably going to have the same criticisms as this movie and as Kong Skull Island, but I just want him to make money, dude. I mean, this is
man. Because Tate, when I'm sitting on that bottom row looking up at this, I'm smiling for so many sequences. I'm just like, what? I mean, what? The shots are incredible. They are stunning in every way. And, I mean, so many shots in the movie just look like straight up paintings. I mean, I really, I hope that they can take this further than Kong versus Godzilla in a couple years. Is that coming out next year or the year after?
Next year, yeah, 2020.
If that's the case, that's awesome. I hope people aren't too burnt out on monster movies by then, just a year from now. But I mean, yeah, and by the way, in this movie, the first time I watched it, I completely missed all of the Kong references. But then the second time, I just picked them all out, and I was like, how did I not notice any of these the first time through?
But Ross, there weren't any Kong references, right?
Dude, there were. I couldn't count how many Kong references are there. I mean, they mention him about it every opportunity they get. Either him or Skull Island.
Chad, just for a little bit of background on this banter. Ross and I, whenever we see a movie, we text each other about it pretty much immediately. And Ross immediately texts me, and I say, are there any Kong references? And he says no. And then the next day when he sees it a second time, it was super funny. He starts listing all these Kong references.
Yeah.
I mean, they straight up show him.
Yep. Yeah. Well, spoiler there, but I mean,
it's light spoiler.
It's not really a spoiler. They show his back like on a screen for like a second. I mean, they don't really show him.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. There's so much more you can do with these monster movies, especially now.
Oh, yeah.
And I really, it's just because Pacific Rim just about straight up died with John Boyega's sequel last year. It's like, this is all we've got for giant kaiju movies, and I want them to keep going because so far, if you ask me, they've been fun, and they deserve to go on. Did the MCU deserve to just straight up die because Iron Man 2 wasn't so great,
Throw that Dark World right after it as well.
So anyway.
Oh man, too bad Disney doesn't just buy out the freaking the rights to kaiju and just... Yeah. Oh my gosh.
If I had to give Godzilla like a rating, man, I mean, I would honestly give it like a good 7 out of 10. 7.5. It was good, man. I've made my points. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments. To check in a little bit here. We've got Golden Light saying best universe after 3 movies. I wouldn't go that far. Maybe I'm misinterpreting, but
yeah, no, I think he's going off of my mention earlier that I was saying this is the only other cinematic universe that's working. That's not me saying it's the best universe. It's just me saying that this is the only cinematic universe that's working so far, besides the MCU, of course.
And Lego P3, you're asking about the 3 Lab 9 minifigures that I showed in my blog. Yeah, unfortunately, they are indeed sold out. Those are collector's items. Like, they are really... I mean, there is a small market for those, and they're very pricey, and they sell out quick because the collectors are always ready to jump on it. You gotta be there. You got to be there right when they go up on those sites, unfortunately. But I'm still going to do a video on them because they're really cool. That'll actually be my next video that I'm hoping to maybe get started on tonight. Either way, you'll just have to look through and unfortunately keep an eye out on Instagram or anything and see if anybody ever winds up selling their copy because they're just gone. They make them once and that's it. They're very much a hot commodity that just go quick and yeah. But anyway, Tate. So Godzilla. Let's talk Star Wars, dude.
Let's talk Star Wars. Star Wars land opened up.
We can start there.
Just what? 2 days ago? 3 days ago?
Yeah, so how it's kind of a surreal statement that we're just literally said Star Wars land opened. Let's just take that in for a second. Star Wars Land. Galaxy's Edge opened in Disney World. There is now a Disneyland. Disney World is opening in August. That is now a thing. They've been building it for the last couple of years, and that is a reality.
So did they get rid of the future world?
I have no idea, honestly. I haven't been keeping back.
I guys, to be honest, I didn't know this was happening until Ross told me 2 days ago. He texted me and he's like, "Hey, dude, Disneyland just unveiled the Star Wars land." I was like, "What? What is that about?" So Ross, I'll let you take the reins on this one.
Yeah, man. So Star Wars Land, of course, like I said, they've been building it in both parks, Disneyland and Disney World, for the last couple of years, and now they just opened the park in Disneyland first, and Disney World will be in August. And of course, it is the ultimate Star Wars experience. I mean, they are just endeavoring to make it as authentic as possible throughout the entire experience, but at the same time, I don't know how that experience really is or how it's been for the people going there for the first time during its grand opening now. Because, for me, even when in Florida, I'll be going to the one in Disney World eventually, but I'm not going to go for at least the first year or two. And so that's simply because if you're going to be shelling out that much money to go, you want to make sure that you at least get 2/3 of the experience. Whereas I really feel like if you go just the grand opening, I gets me really worried that you're just going to be seeing more people than the actual park, and the actual part of the park anyway, as far as Galaxy's Edge goes. But I think that It looks amazing from the little snippets I've seen. It sounds amazing, but I've also been intentionally keeping myself out of the loop because part of me in a year or two wants to walk in fresh. I don't want to have seen a full tour of the whole place when I go, before I go. I
Okay.
kind of want to walk around and just be handed a map and just be able to experience it all myself in person the first time.
So Ross,
Uh,
I do want to say, you
yeah,
just made that point. I just looked at the website, so I kind of spoiled it for myself.
yeah.
And they just show concept art and stuff like that, so I'm not because I don't. I mean, I don't want to spoil it either. I want to
No, I have
experience
an
all.
idea of what it looks like.
But
I've seen like William Falcon and little snippets, but not like a thorough
so,
tour or anything.
to my understanding, does Disney World have the Futureland, Tomorrowland? That's what it's called,
Well, they
Tomorrowland.
have Tomorrowland, but that's in Magic Kingdom, and
Right.
that's
So
right.
over here they have Tomorrowland as well.
Hollywood. They're building Star Wars Land. Galaxy Edge is going to be inside Hollywood Studios in Orlando.
Right. But essentially, at least the one in California, at least Disneyland, essentially it's Tomorrowland, like all the Star Wars. Because I mean, Tomorrowland was just Star Wars stuff for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just like you had Star Tours, you had like maybe two things that were generic space agey things, but the rest was Star Wars. It's pretty much that, except now everything's redesigned for Star Wars. Like they have the
Yeah.
lightsaber building thing, except it's in a new area that's Star Wars designed. The restaurants are now Star Wars themed. It looks really freaking awesome.
Yeah, dude, it just looks surreal, and I was really excited for everybody that was there. I mean, of course, Bob Iger came out with George Lucas to open the whole place, and that must have been a really great moment because Tate, that very well could have been the last time that people got to see George Lucas, Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and all of them together. That might have been it right there.
Yeah,
That might, and
yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, we couldn't have
but,
Carrie
but what
Fisher
a
and Peter Mayhew
but what a
there.
what a great moment. What an incredible moment.
Absolutely.
That's like something straight. That's like on the level of, and if not surpassing the 40th anniversary panel that we all got to experience with him and the cast and John Williams and Harrison Ford in Orlando. And it looked like a really magical moment, and it was really cool to see that like Ashley Eckstein was there with her husband, and they were having a great time, and Jet Lucas was there, and Sam Witwer was there. Um, you know, uh, man, I think yeah, Brie Larson was there. Alden Ehrenreich was there.
I
Um,
just hear that name Ross, and I can't help but chuckle. I'm sorry, man.
you had so many great people there, and so yeah. I mean, it must have been a really great experience, just unbelievable to see it. That opening night, and it's a magical moment to be here and for this to have happened because Tate, as a kid, it's like the idea of a Star Wars theme park. It wasn't real at the time, and so we never really thought that it could be real and that anybody and that they would ever do it. I mean, Disney World was already built; they would never do something so drastic and so crazy. I mean, that was just kind of that was just kind of what I thought about it as a kid. It was just Disney is Disney, and Star Wars that could never be.
Mm-hmm.
And so now to be here, I'm almost turning 21, and this has become a reality. It's exciting. It is very very exciting, and I'm very much looking forward to it, and looking forward to being guided around the experience by Hondo Onaka. I mean,
That's pretty rad.
he's pretty much your host the whole time. Hondo, and the animatronic of him, and it's incredible because technically it's our second Clone Wars character, or Clone Wars originating character, to make its way into real life and live action. And how cool is that, Tate? That a Clone Wars originating character, that freaking Weequay scoundrel, became the host and lead character of Star Wars Land, a Clone Wars character. How cool is that?
Here we
How
go, Chad.
amazing
Here
is
we
that?
go, Chad. It's gonna be another like 30 minutes or so of Ross talking about how much he loves the Clone Wars. Here we
It's
go.
just
Sit back and
it,
enjoy.
it's just so I just try not to take any of this for granted because it's like so much of this is so impossible, and it's so incredible that this has happened and that they've pulled it off, and that all the thousands of people that have worked tirelessly over the last couple of years have made this into a reality. And I really can't wait to check it out in another year or two whenever I can make it there, because I mean, oh man,
I mean,
we'll be going to if we can afford it next year, we'll be going to Celebration in Anaheim. And I mean, who knows, man? Maybe I'll go with AV figures. Andrew.
Oh
That would,
yeah.
that would that would be really special. I mean, and then you'll be there too. So I mean, dude,
All the boys, dude. All the boys experience Star Wars
if
land.
if we go as soon as next year or the year after, I cannot wait to basically experience real life Star Wars. I
Dude,
mean, that's going to be incredible.
let's just all dress up as Weequay and just pull up and be like, Hondo, what's up? What's up, bro? Your crew's here.
Ugh,
The boys are here. The boys are back.
that animatronic looks great.
It really
Um,
does, yeah. I'm looking at it right now.
yeah,
It's
so
impressive, man.
Star Wars Land Tape. It'll be opening down in Orlando, Hollywood Studios, in a couple months in August. So that'll be really great. And again, I'm just gonna try to not spoil it for myself because you know I don't know. I just because I feel like watching a YouTube video might ruin it. Just walking around and a tour. I just really don't want to see it.
Oh yeah. I
You
mean,
know.
it's like me when Harry Potter Land opened up in Universal. I didn't look at anything, and then when I went there for the first time, it's surreal. So
Yeah,
definitely, I mean, similar thing here. I mean, it's gonna be surreal to see the Falcon. To see all of the because don't they have a big First Order ride as well?
they have a big everything. I think they have Kylo Ren shuttle there too.
Oh
And
my
yeah.
god, just to see that. I mean, I'm thinking back to when they released the big Death Star in 2014, no, not 2014, 2015 at Legoland, California. And just to
Mhm.
see the big Miniland Death Star for the first time. Wait, was it the Miniland Death Star? I don't know because it wasn't in Miniland. It was somewhere else. But oh my gosh, to see those kind of things at the scale they're at, it's
Yeah.
incredible.
And yeah, Golden Light. They have a rideable Falcon, dude.
That's so sick.
Tate. What's really cool about the Millennium Falcon ride too, I think from what I saw, is at the very least, I think it's a long. Of course, the lines are going to be incredibly long.
Oh yeah, they're gonna
Um,
be atrocious.
but from what I saw, man, I saw a lot of footage of people walking around empty Millennium Falcon hallways without other people.
Oh man.
And so I think the only thing that I think you actually get to like once you make it through the line, I think you actually get to walk around the inside of the Falcon briefly, just like you and your party, before getting
Oh.
into the like it's not just a line and they drop you straight into the cockpit like Star Tours. Like you actually like go through the Falcon a bit once you get to the end, get up to the
That is
once
so sick.
um yeah, man. And
Oh man.
um but yeah, Tate. So moreover, with more so, like we said at the start, we missed the Vanity Fair Rise of Skywalker article coverage. Um, so we're going to be talking about that now. And
What do you want to start with, man?
well, I
Is it,
think
is it
you know.
Ross rant time?
Listen, Tate and I talked about this just before we went live, guys, and holy crap, yeah, I kind of went off a little bit because listen, I'll preface this with I'm so glad that there are so many people that are loving the sequel trilogy to its fullest, and there are so many people that really appreciate practicality at every available opportunity. Personally, neither Tate or I are one of those people.
Yeah, no. The practicality definitely has its space, but this is Star Wars. Practicality
I'm
was necessary in 1970. They used state of the art, right, video effects in Star Wars. They pushed the limit in 1977. So why? Sorry, now I'm going to start ranting. So why are we going to emulate what they did as opposed to how
yeah,
they like no we're
right.
emulating how they did it, not what they did. They used edge of the line, like breaking edge technology. So why don't we do the same now?
You definitely got a couple hardcore prequel fans here between Tate and I, and at least Tate. I don't know if you consider yourself a hardcore prequel fan,
I
but I mean,
mean,
I think
not a hardcore, but I definitely like Revenge of the Sith, and I definitely
the
like Phantom Menace.
yeah, and how George Lucas with the prequels really was pioneering digital, and in doing so, he really was exploring all the possibilities just with early CG in the early 2000s of what could be done in the alien worlds that you could see. And I'm sorry, but after The Force Awakens and after The Last Jedi, I have grown really tired and really exhausted of this love and overindulgence on
It's almost a dedication.
yeah, this dedication to going to a desert instead of creating an alien world from the ground up.
Let's
Going,
talk really quick.
of going to a forest instead of combining practicality with CG. There's so much left on the table when they just go out and film in a desert. And so
We
I'm
should
so glad
compare.
again. There are so many people that love what they're doing, but when I keep seeing when they start in this article going on about the desert in Jordan and how it's quote unquote plausibly alien, and I'm sorry, I can't get behind this anymore. It's uninspiring, and as far as what's possible, borderline insulting for Star Wars.
I want to bring up really quick. Let's compare four movies. Let's compare Empire Strikes Back, Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One, and then let's just say sequel, whether that be The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi. Look back at Empire Strikes Back. Look at Bespin. Look at Bespin. That was made in 1980. Look at Bespin. Long and narrow corridors, flashing lights all over. Well, not flashing, but the white ambient lights all over the walls. Stainless steel, everything. Alien planet. Look at Revenge of the Sith. Utapau, Coruscant, Felusa when we see it briefly, Cato Nemoidia when we see it briefly. Oh my gosh, Kashyyyk. We spent a lot of time on Kashyyyk. That's not in a forest.
And
And then look at Rogue One, right? What is the planet? What is the planet that I Edu? Is that what it's called?
yeah, Edu, it's not that we
Right.
don't. It's not that I don't want practicality in Star Wars. It's there needs to be a combination, and Rogue One did this very well. The
Right, and
scale,
that's why I wanted to bring it up.
and yeah, what you're bringing up, Tate Edu, all the planets in Rogue One are exactly where Star Wars needs to go, combining the two, not just leaning solely on one in the form of practicality and just straight up going to a desert in Jordan. Listen, man, I hope they had a good time filming there. I hope it was a great experience and all the people that had to work in those conditions to film. But I'm sorry, it's just not exciting anymore. And like we were talking about earlier, Tate, it's becoming a problem because if this is not Tatooine or Jakku, you've got a steadily increasing number of desert planets, and it's getting a little repetitive, to say the least. And I've just about had enough. I'm sorry, and I'll be there to see Rise of Skywalker. I'm excited. Of course, I want to see the grand finale to the Skywalker saga. Um, you know, but at the same time, I'm more excited for the grand finale, Palpatine's involvement in whatever the final fight will be. You know, um, so this article to me, the consensus after reading it a couple weeks ago and reading parts of it again now, I'm I can't get excited. It's just more of what's already been said about the sequel trilogy, and it almost is falling on deaf ears for me at this point because
Yeah.
you have so many more statements. In
The thing is,
not
Ross, I want to bring up really quick is speaking of the statements. I mean, everybody just sounds almost robotic, deaf-toned, right?
yeah,
Everyone's saying the same thing. You
thing
can't
about
manufacture imperfection. We need practical effects because it makes it more genuine. We
this
need
whole
this, that, and the other. Now we're not bashing practical effects. I want to add that we don't hate practical effects, but there needs to be a blend to keep this interesting. We don't need grounded reality. These are
in
people with light swords, with freaking laser swords,
you're in a
fighting each
galaxy
other.
far, far away, and most of the galaxy is made up of alien worlds. We are not on Earth. I'm
No,
sorry,
no.
and it's and so when you have lines in here, and listen, I just saw Oscar Isaac. He was right in front of me at Celebration, really excited. He's always really excited about Star Wars, and I love to see that coming off the guy. He's great. But when he says stuff like this, it's the things that you can't anticipate, the imperfections. It's very difficult to design imperfection, and the imperfections that you have in these environments immediately create a sense of authenticity. You just believe it more. Listen, man, they said stuff along these same lines for The Force Awakens, for The Last Jedi, and I've had it. I'm sorry.
Look, man, I believe Due to Power. I believe Due to Power. I believe that planet was something that existed in an alien universe.
I believed Mustafar. I mean, Mustafar was practical. Most of that was, at least half of that was miniatures. I mean, I'm sorry. I just don't buy into this anymore.
But we don't watch Star Wars to see. We don't watch Star Wars to see our planet, right? That's the thing that bugs me so much. We don't watch Star Wars to see, our humans, with our human problems and our human limitations. We watch Star Wars to see people with laser swords beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a lot more in Star Wars, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's exploration of alien ideas that can't be expressed because of the fact that we have laws and rules in our universe. I mean, it's a disconnect from reality. Not. So,
yeah, and dude, to me, it's like when I'm watching Star Wars and I'm looking for those things, when I'm looking for the grand story in this galaxy that we love so much, that is so unique in every way, with all of its details, all of its lore, all of the people in each world, and the conflicts that they are confronted with, and the wars they fight through. And when it's just done on another desert, when it's just in another forest, when it's just in another forest with a big lake and a castle, it gets, to me, very boring, very quick, in contrast with what's already been done before. Not just with the prequels, but with Rogue One.
Rogue One is the big one that I like to bring up because of the fact that we had Jeddah, we had a desert planet, but look at the city of Jeddah. And I also I don't want to bash everything about the sequels because we have that casino planet in The Last Jedi. I thought that was pretty fun to look at. That didn't look like Earth.
It looked too much like Earth, though, dude. I'm sorry.
See, but here's the thing: it didn't look as much like Earth as everything else.
But it was still, they were still pushing it. They were still really pushing it.
But here's the thing: then you have the Crystal Caves in Crate. I think that the surface of Crate's kind of boring, but the Crystal Caves.
The Crystal Caves are great.
That's super cool.
The Crystal Caves were amazing. I'll give you that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then also Jakku, when you see all the trading and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that was pretty alien. Same way the Cantina was, and I know rip off of.
If this is another new desert planet, that means in this single trilogy alone, if we're counting Ponima, the desert planet they didn't show on screen, they have introduced 3 desert planets in one trilogy.
Can we just see different climates on the same planet? Can we see northern Tatooine, all covered in snow?
And so these articles, where we're collecting dialogue from the cast praising this sort of these ideas and
hypnotized, dude.
It's what?
I said they're almost hypnotized. It seems.
Yeah, and then the author even almost seems kind of disconnected. I mean, when he's talking about celebration in here, how does he describe celebration? He brings up the 36,444, Lego Stormtrooper display that was there, and that was really cool in person, But he brings that up, and then Star Wars themed Muppet cosplay. I mean, those are the 2 things he uses to describe the spirit of Star Wars Celebration Chicago. Jeez. Listen, man, I'm sorry. All due respect to the guy. Clearly, this is not his forte or his area, or his field. But what an idiot! What a horrible way to describe Star Wars Celebration. That bothered me because that's the guy writing the article, and he could barely describe Celebration.
Yeah, I mean, it almost seems like he spent 10 minutes there. 5 minutes, just passed through, and said, "Hey, what's up, JJ?" And went to the back panel where all of the press was.
Weird, man. I mean, we were just talking. I mean, he goes on a little bit after, and he's describing his conversation with JJ after the panel.
This is just weird, man.
And he's going on about how he was looked like he might as well have been a Men in Black cosplay, but then he goes on to say that he's talking about JJ's most distinctive feature, his dark curly hair, unswept in a way that is only slightly suggestive of devil horns. I'm like, what am I reading?
What
am I reading?
Where's the relevancy? Where is the? I mean, he's trying to add but he's trying to add undertones to the way JJ dressed himself, and maybe
It
they're
is,
there,
it
but
is mildly inappropriate and disturbing a little bit. It's very odd. It's very
just
odd. I'm
it's
sorry.
strange. It's out of
There's a lot of great content in this article, but these two paragraphs kind of early on are very odd.
they just
Uh,
very irk.
yeah, man. And there's a nice feature that they threw in there. And there's a lot of really great stuff about JJ talking about what it was like shooting these areas and the history. George Lucas, American Graffiti. They go into all that stuff as they do in these really great articles. And this one, I wouldn't necessarily say is one of my favorites of these articles. I would gladly, go and reread the ILM article from 2015 before I thoroughly, read through this again. But there was some really cool other stuff in here. Like we got to see Kerry Russell's character. She's playing Zori Bliss, I believe, who's in a purple suit with a gold helmet. She almost looks Mandalorian-like, but not really. She looks great. I'm looking forward to her character. I'm looking forward to Naomi Aki's character again. She was right there with Oscar right in front of me, and it was really great to just see their spirit and how alive they always made them, and how in it they were. They weren't closed off in any way, which I really appreciated. And so I'm looking forward to Naomi Aki's new character. I'm looking forward to Kerry Russell's new characters. But listen, man, I was also looking forward to Rose Tico and General Holdo, and then they took over the movie. And then Rey didn't get as much screen time as she deserved, and as a result, the lead character of the sequel trilogy went underdeveloped because we gave half the movie to these newly introduced side characters that never should have been there in the first place. And so it's hard for me to get excited for even more new characters. It really is. And so again, I'm keeping my expectations very reserved. So yeah, I mean, and as far as the rest of it goes, again, you've got Naomi Aki, kind of regurgitating more of the practicality and how grounded it is, and more of what we've already heard. And I'm excited. I don't want to listen. I'm not going to say that I don't want to sound too negative, because to me, a lot of this is kind of negative because of what Star Wars really can be. And but again, I'm still looking forward to it. I'll be there. We've got new pictures of General Pride, played by Richard E. Grant, new First Order character, so that's great. Benicio del Toro should have been the First Order character. I'm sorry, that was a real waste of him in the Last Jedi. That was a real shame.
Yeah, Ross and I were talking the other day about. Sorry to change the subject slightly, but all of these actors in Hollywood just kind of being wasted in these franchises, in these big booming franchises like Lawrence Fishburne and Ant-Man and the Wasp, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on with that?
Yeah, man. And and the article goes on with even more history, about George Lucas quotes and then various different things like that. And then, so that was all really fun and great in this article. That I always love reading that stuff. But again, I've just had enough of this stuff. Like from Naomi Aki, it feels very grounded. There's this kind of spectacularness and the supernatural move things with your magic stuff, as if that's all Star Wars is. But then there's also this really grounded, rugged nature where everything is distressed and old and kind of worn out and lived in.
That was Rogue One. We had that in Rogue One, and they definitely used the CGI. They definitely used those non-practical elements to address that. But this isn't Rogue One. This isn't a soldier movie. This is an action adventure about a woman who can move things with her mind, who can never be bested.
Honestly, controversial opinion. I always have the unpopular opinions. As a life Star Wars fan, I really do believe that it is kind of a shame that Star Wars has had this looming threat to imagination that limits its all of its potential through the lens of practicality and this overindulgence of practicality, because it's like, why is this not a thing with Marvel? Iron Man walks up in the Mark 50, it looks rubber, that's fine, nobody cares, nobody says a word. But then when Star Wars, a sci-fi series taking place in another galaxy with alien worlds and forces like the Jedi and the Sith going at it with lightsabers, and we are seeking practicality in this. It's so backwards, right? Because like the MCU takes place on Earth most of the time. And so
yeah, but Wakanda has more character than Takodana, Jakku, maybe not Jakku, but it has a lot of character, right?
Yeah.
So where's the discrepancy? It's the same distributor.
Yeah, so again, man, I'm looking forward to it. It was really great to see them all super up close, at Celebration. They're all really great people making a really great thing. And I don't take for granted that this is happening at all. When we weren't getting Star Wars movies prior to 2012, we were just doing the Clone Wars, and that's all we had. We didn't know what the future was after that. So it's, I still don't take any of this for granted, despite all of this. But I'll tell you right now, man, no spoilers. But if some of the leaks that I read were true, I'm way more excited for that stuff than any of what I read in this article. And I'll just, I'll leave that thread there. But I mean, it's as far as all this crap goes, man. JJ even says here, famously, the prequels were mostly green screen environments, and that was George himself doing that, and it ended up looking exactly how he wanted it to look. And I always preferred the look of the original movies, because I just remember when you're in the snow on Hoth, when you're in the desert on Tatooine, and when you're in the forests of Endor, it's amazing. If you put Evaporator there, all of a sudden, almost any natural location suddenly becomes a Star Wars location. I'm sorry, I don't agree. I don't agree.
The yellow, pink, and orange trees of Felucia beat some Evaporators on a desert planet any day for me. I'm sorry.
And JJ is such a genius too. I mean, he's such an inspiration, but I just don't agree. And yeah, man. There's also a shot in here. Of course, we got to see shots of of Lando, Billy D. He looks amazing, of course.
Oh my gosh! Let's delve a little deeper on that. I have that pulled up right here.
We got some shots of Finn and Janna on these really great looking creatures. That looks like fun. There's also
Billy D. Williams. I mean,
there's that iconic shot in here with Rey and Kylo Ren battling it out in a massive rainstorm, or they're just close to a major body of water where there's some kind of storm going on. Who the hell knows? But it looks like that's probably from the grand finale sequence. And it looks great. But, again, I don't want anybody to mistake us for these radical people who are still hating on The Last Jedi vigorously and relentlessly over a year later. No. I think that's immature and needs to stop. But listen, objectively, the Star Wars universe has established that humans are humans, and that anybody who shows up with the Force, being able to do what Rey can do, does need to be somebody. Because again, the main character of the saga, Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, the Chosen One himself, born of the Force, had to train 10 years before he got to the point where he was in the Clone Wars, ready to fight in that battle, in those battles, in that war, and reach his full potential. But the sequel trilogy has presented us with Rey, who has overcome every conflict that she's been faced with. She has...
With ease, my man.
With ease. She has demonstrated incredible abilities. The Last Jedi elaborated on none of it. And I'm sorry, but if they don't come out and say that she's the next in the line of the Chosen Ones, or they don't establish how she's doing all of this and how she is seemingly completing her Jedi training inside of a year of just starting to use the Force and supposedly becoming a full-fledged Jedi just by reading the ancient texts from the primitive Jedi Order from thousands and thousands of years ago, you've got a problem, man.
Now, Ross, here's the thing. I kind of disagree. I really don't want her to be in the line of Chosen Ones. I mean, I'm going to say this as a film fan first and as a Star Wars fan second when I make this statement, but that's just such... I'm going to use... Well, no, I'm not going to use my one per string, but it's kind of bullshit, man. It's such a cop-out. It's just... To me, it's so frustrating.
Unless they say something else, like she's some kind of being, like Jesus figure who is, coming to the galaxy in a physical form, and she's secretly like... They have to. There has to be.
And no. The sad thing is, Ross. The sad thing is, they have to say she's the Chosen One. Right, and it's just not. It's not the way I would have gone about it. I would be very vocal and say that I think that it's complete bullshit. I think that you should never make a Mary Sue and then just explain it as they were the prophesized one. It's so overdone.
Yeah, but I mean, then you could also say the same for Anakin Skywalker.
But here's the thing, Ross. He was prophesized, but he also turned out to be that bad guy. He turned out to be the antagonist. That's an interesting take.
Right, because the Jedi interpreted it the way they wanted to, not how the Force actually intended the prophecy to play out.
Look at almost every other piece of prophecy material, any other piece of prophecy media. Right. The prophet wins almost 9 times out of 10. The prophet wins, and is a good guy, and is a shining beacon of light and hope. That wasn't Anakin Skywalker.
Right.
So thank you, George Lucas, for that one.
And so again, I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad they got Ian McDiarmid back. I hope they don't bring back Palpatine in full force. That would be a shame.
That would be a shame.
He didn't take a picture with me at the airport.
Yeah, let's bring that up. Ian Sir Ian McDiarmid, if you're watching this, Ross is gonna get that picture.
No.
One day.
I already got 2 pictures of them.
He will get one at the airport when you least expect it, sir.
But even at Celebration, J.J. Abrams has really been over-glorifying this deleted footage that they had held over Force Awakens. And so, then we get the shot with John Williams composing that scene, one of those scenes with Carrie. And, they talked about how they kind of reconstructed the movie around those scenes to make those scenes flow. And they've been propping up these scenes with Carrie Fisher so much that's got my interest really piqued. Like, aside from the grand finale of how they're going to close out the Skywalker saga, I want to know what this Carrie Fisher footage is. It's got me curious. Are they going to have to CG people in? Like, what are we doing? Right? And, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to whatever presence Luke may have as well. At this point, I don't think Hayden Christensen, Anakin's going to show up at all. Even though
it'd be kind of a shame if Darth Vader just pulled up and was like, "Yo, what's up, guys? Force Ghost here."
It makes sense now, It makes sense for him to not show up now that Luke is gone, which is a shame.
Yeah,
that they didn't.
What a waste, man.
Yeah, because Rey, like they were saying with Plagueis, Rey doesn't know Anakin, so it wouldn't make any sense for him to just show up in front of her.
Right.
Which is a shame. But yeah, man.
If we were gonna say him, the Last Jedi would have had to have been the movie. Should have been him and not Yoda. I still believe that, man.
Tate, in closing, I'm just really glad there are people enjoying and being, people who are a lot more excited about all of this than we are now. It's just, I felt really burned by The Last Jedi and Solo. And so I cannot get on board the hype train. I'll get on board the hype train once it arrives and if the train is functioning. Otherwise, I'm keeping up, man. Reading the articles, checking out the new pictures, great stuff. Sounds exciting. I hope they do it right. But unfortunately, I still think that the narrative hole left by The Last Jedi is just too great.
Well, the narrative hole left by both films. I mean, there just hasn't been enough development.
Without making The Rise of Skywalker like 3 hours, you can't recover.
No, I agree.
You can't recover. And so I'm not expecting a lot. I'm really not. But I hope it'll still be an enjoyable film at the very least and exciting to watch, unlike The Last Jedi for most of the film. But yeah, so to answer a few questions, hey Ross, have you considered using a bootleg thing for Professor Hulk? Oh, a bootleg thing arm for Professor Hulk. The rock details might look really good for the charred arm. Honestly, dude, I will just take a drill to a big fig arm before I do that. But good idea if you're going for a more simple approach. When is the Endgame Showcase going to come out? I am working on the Endgame figures slowly but surely. They're the best figures I can make them.
Ross, the Endgame Showcase, when? When, Ross?
They'll be coming out in smaller showcases of 2s and 3s over the rest of the year, and I hope you'll join me for those videos, man. I appreciate you being here. Ross, what do I think if Rey turned evil? That would really throw people for a loop, but I know for a fact Disney would never want to promote the idea of an evil female lead at this point.
Yeah, no,
And
not now.
that's never even a possibility.
Yeah, no, not even a little bit.
And also would have been a little bit repetitive as far as like Anakin Skywalker's story goes.
Yeah.
So I understand why they didn't go that route, but they also didn't go a better route either. So
we're kind of
so
stuck in terms of
did Anakin do more good or Vader more bad? Honestly, by no fault of Anakin, Vader did more bad than Anakin did good, because Anakin and all of the Republic were fighting in a false war.
Oh yeah.
And so even though Anakin did save a lot of lives throughout that false war that was the Clone Wars, Vader went around slaughtering people in droves by the thousands. I mean, throughout the next 19 years that would follow. So, unfortunately, Anakin left much more of a gash and a wound in the galaxy than he did, any form of everlasting peace, because, of course, history repeated itself shortly thereafter. And, I mean, it's great that he killed Palpatine and found redemption, but that's not going to bring all those people back.
As somebody who believes that Thanos did nothing wrong, Anakin's Darth Vader evils were necessary in order to restore the Force. Perfectly balanced as all things should be.
Oh my God. Yeah. But yeah, and then will I be making episode 9 figures? That's a really good closing point there for this talk. Yeah, man.
Just make Lando. That's all I care.
Honestly, I think if anything, because Kylo Ren's costume is so damn similar, I don't think I'll be making a new Kylo Ren. But I like to think that at the end of the year, I'll have time to make at least a new Rey and Finn and Poe, just for the hell of it, and leave it at that.
Will you please make a Lando? I mean, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
look
maybe.
Look at him. He's on screen right now. He's looking at you, Ross.
Depending on where I am with Endgame figures at that time, by the end of the year, if I haven't finished Endgame figures by that time, I'm going to do my best to make sure that's not the case. But in that event, I'm always going to be prioritizing Endgame, so we'll see.
Guys, I do want to say, Ross's Endgame figures are freaking nuts. He's been sending me progress pictures. This guy is doing things, and I'm not just filleting him because he's my friend. No, this is genuinely. Yeah. They're super impressive, guys. So just stay tuned. It'll be worth the wait. I mean, you saw the making of and the Iron Man figure. I mean, that quality has been carried over to the other figures.
The Mark 85 in that video was under halfway done. I hadn't painted the back or the HUD inside or the legs or the air flaps or the standard hands. So it's got a long way to go, but I can just about guarantee they're going to be my best figures to date. And yeah, I'm posting Captain America Progress over on Patreon right now. And I said it on Twitter. I think I forgot to mention it on Instagram. But my new Captain America is completely different than previous versions, but is way better than previous versions for a variety of reasons. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy the end result. I was just working on his torso today, and it's turning out pretty good. And so I really appreciate all of you guys being so patient as I slowly work on this pretty big project.
You guys DM me on Instagram for progress pictures of his Captain America's legs.
I will stop sending them to you.
No. The legs. Just the legs, Ross.
Just the legs. Just the blank legs, because I always make the legs last.
They're not blank legs? What are you talking about? It's progress pictures of his legs, man.
But yeah, man. I just have to paint the front of the torso. I got to do the arms. I've got to do the belt a little bit, and I have to make the broken shield and a little bit of detail on the helmet. And once I get through all of that stuff, you will see the first preview photo and the making of video for Captain America going up hopefully inside the next week. I'm going to do my best. But
And then Ross, as a man of the people, are you going to be making a Mjolnir?
Yeah, dude.
There it is, folks.
There will be a new Mjolnir. I already sent the mold off to Andrew over at AV Figures to make a brown version of Mjolnir so that I don't have to paint the handle. Because if you've been painting custom minifigures, any of you guys, you would know that painting the handles on Lego accessories, you're just asking for failure. That paint's coming off no matter what you do it once you put it into a minifig hand. So, yeah, but otherwise, apparently there was some new Lego Harry Potter sets and some other sets I was supposed to drop today that didn't, so that sucks. To kind of go through a lightning round here, Robert Pattinson is finally officially confirmed to be our next Batman by Warner Brothers. So that's happening. Apparently, there could also be Jason Todd in the movie, so that's great.
Jason Todd is a weird choice. Can we talk about that? I mean, I'm a DC fan.
I think they should have got. Well, I mean, at the same time, if they do Jason Todd first and then Dick Grayson, Jason Todd comes back as Red Hood, I don't really see the problem.
No, that works, but I mean, if they stick to the mythos and make Dick Grayson, canonically Nightwing at the time we see Robert Pattinson in the movie, I mean, that'll kind of be disappointing now. That'll kind of be upsetting.
We'll see, man. But I mean, again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I really fully invested myself in the DC EU, and I fully believed in everything that they were promising and everything that they were doing. And like I said, I have no intention of being smacked in the face again if I get invested in this new reboot, just to have it rebooted again the next few years and be left undone. So sounds great. I'm sure he'll do great, but I'm not really going to care until we start seeing a little more. But yeah, otherwise, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came back, and it's been pretty terrible so far.
Don't have a graphic for that one. I forgot to grab one. Sorry, Ross.
No, don't worry about it, dude, but that's the thing.
Yeah, so that happened. I mean...
It's a shame, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4 was fantastic.
That's what you're saying.
Season 5 was almost just as good. But yeah, now this new season has just been god-awful so far, which has really been a shame. For me, anyway. I've not been enjoying it. But then...
Swamp Thing came out. First episode. High praise.
Yeah, I might watch that tonight. I don't know. That seems really great. There's some new Spider-Man Far From Home leaks that have been dropping, a bunch of other...
We're not going to be showing anything. We're not going to be discussing anything. I've already been spoiled for Far From Home.
No spoilers there.
Yeah, I've already been spoiled for Far From Home, so I'm really upset. Apparently it got released in Taiwan. Either Taiwan or something like that, like not too long ago. And I'm personally really frustrated. I mean, come on. I was just looking through Instagram.
Early over there, too.
What's up?
They'll be getting it like a full week over there.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Especially because it's Sony Pictures as well. I mean, they you have to release things earlier in the East because of the fact that, of course, time zones and everything. But it's just... It's so unfortunate that it's already been released and that Sony is not even leaking it, but like there are a couple guys at Sony who have already leaked it. Freaking sucks, man.
Sony's got a lot of issues, but dude, apparently Mark Webb, the one who directed the two Amazing Spider-Man movies, is in talks to helm the live-action Snow White movie.
I didn't even hear about that, man. That's cool.
Hey, man. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Like I expressed last week with Aladdin. I mean, I'm loving these live-action adaptations. I can't wait for Lion King pretty soon here. I mean, I'm looking forward to a live-action Mulan, Snow White, Little Mermaid. Let's go, man. I'm looking forward to those. Those all sound great. But otherwise, guys, Tate, unless you have anything else to add, I think that's...
I do. I have some Lego talk.
All right, dude, go.
So, essentially, since we're supposed to be releasing today, because it is June 1st, and they are not out here in the West... So guys, just stay tuned. The Harry Potter stuff is coming in July. Instead of doing 2 waves as people speculated, they are just doing 1 big wave. All coming out in July. I could be wrong on this though, guys. I mean, I'm getting this information from a bunch of different places. So look out for that. I also want to add X39 Customs. X39 Customs just released an energy sword from Halo. It is an overmolded. It has a silver grip, a silver handle, and then a trans blue blade. Guys, check that out. It's only $3, which is, when you're comparing that to a Brick Arms overmolded, I mean that can't be beat. And I personally think, I mean, Peyton's a great guy, but also he's got the best. The best energy sword of all.
Yeah, I wish I was still making Halo figures because that would have been really great. Years ago.
I mean, I'm not a Halo guy except for in GTA, but I played Halo Reach, so I definitely think I'm going to grab one of these. But anyway, that concludes Lego talk. Unless you have anything else for us.
I think the podcast, dude. I think that's going to do it. So I guess to check in with chat one more time, really quick. Wow, we need to really wrap up here. Yeah. Will next week be about Dark Phoenix?
Is that coming out? I didn't even know that.
Hey, you gonna go see Dark Phoenix?
If I don't have a headache.
You don't have. Yeah. I have tickets. I actually accidentally just printed them at my theater yesterday, so I've got those in my wallet, like ready to go. But yeah, that's gonna be nuts, man. So this time next week, Tate, we will have seen the final film, the final concluding film to Fox's X-Men after,
That's
like
kind of
what has
surreal.
it been like over like almost 20 years?
It's surreal to me.
Yeah,
Starting with
almost 20. These
X1.
movies wrapping up
Man,
like
dude.
this week, next week.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. I love First Class and I adore Days of Future Past. X-Men Apocalypse was a mess, but I'm looking forward to seeing whatever they manage to scrounge together for this. Because the performances at the very least are always incredibly solid from these people. I mean, they're so talented in the X-Men films. So even when the story is not crafted well.
Let's just hope this is a good, positive send off, and we wrap up the things we need to wrap up.
So that Marvel can finally start to spin the wheels toward getting all of them into the MCU.
Yeah, if Mysterio's not lying about the multiverse, then we'll see.
Otherwise, that's gonna do it, Tate.
Cool.
Thanks for everybody for joining in and hanging out with us for a little bit. Always appreciate it. 12 episodes in now. It's been really awesome so far. And,
I do want to add, speaking of 12 episodes in, we might have to change the day.
Oh yeah, that's important.
Yeah, so I am. I have a lot of. Long story short, I have a lot of health issues, and I haven't been able to work. And I'm finally able to start working again. And I need to be. I've talked to the boss, and I need to be there on Saturdays. So that's the reason why we're so late today. So
yeah, man,
we'll be experimenting going forward.
Appreciate you guys bearing with us. We haven't really settled on a day. We're thinking about doing Fridays at 2 or 3 now instead of Saturday. Yeah. We will see, but if we show up one day early next week, don't be surprised. Just keep an eye out on Twitter or my Instagram story or however you found out about the podcast. Always appreciate you guys. And those of you who show up to hang out with us on Saturdays, it's been awesome. Thanks for taking time out of your day to be here just a little bit. And all right, Tate, that's going to do it. Take care, guys.
Remember, guys, we are inevitable.